Now, the Democrats have been offering a lot of resistance to Donald Trump's nominees. Now, of course, recently they just tried to block Betsy DeVos. Unfortunately, that did not succeed in that effort because of a tie-breaking vote by Vice President Mike Pence. Still, there are other nominees that they continue to block. For example, Neil Gorsuch. Now, to that I say, awesome. Keep blocking him. And, of course, Mitch McConnell, leader of the Republicans in the Senate, not exactly happy about this. He actually had this to say.
I invite Democrats who spend many months insisting we need 9 to now follow through on that advice by giving this superbly qualified nominee fair consideration and an up or down vote. It's time to finally accept the result of the election and move on so we can all move our country forward. Now, that would also apply to other nominations before the Senate. Just before the election, the Democratic leader said he believed the Senate had a moral obligation, even beyond the economy and politics, to avoid gridlock. Put simply, he said, we have to get things done. And yet, just a few months later, Democrat obstruction has reached new extreme levels that the smallest number of cabinet officials have been confirmed in modern history at this point in a presidency. It's a historic break in tradition, a departure from how newly elected presidents of both parties have been treated in decades past. Well, Mr. President, it seems this gridlock in opposition has far less to do with the nominees actually before us than the man who nominated them, just like we're seeing with President Trump's outstanding Supreme Court pick. The Democratic leader and his colleagues are under a great deal of pressure from those on the left who simply cannot accept the results of a Democratic election. They're calling for Democrats to delay and punt and blockade the serious work of the Senate at any cost. They would like nothing more than for Democrats to continue to resist and prevent this president from moving our country forward.
I cannot believe he could sit there and say all that with a straight face. Amazing. Oh, let me tell you, this is so extreme, the obstruction. Why don't you just pass my nominees already? This guy, man. Look, did you know the GOP, under Mitch McConnell, actually set the record for filibusters during the Obama administration? That's the guy who led the effort, Mitch McConnell. In fact, he obstructed so much that he once filibustered his own bill. This is from 2012. Take a look at this.
I now ask unanimous consent that at 1:30 p.m. today, the Senate proceed to the consideration of S-3664, which is a bill regarding debt limit increases, the text of which is at the desk, that there be no amendments in order to the bill, that there be up to 10 minutes of debate equally divided between the two leaders or the designees, that upon the use or yielding back of that time, the bill be read a third time, the Senate proceed to passage of S-3664.
Is there objection?
Madam President, reserving the right to object, matters of this controversy, what we're talking about here is a perpetual debt ceiling grant, in effect, to the president. Matters of this level of controversy always require 60 votes, and so I would ask my friend, the majority leader, if he would modify his consent agreement to set the threshold for this vote at 60.
Madam President.
Majority Leader.
Reserving the right to object, but what we have here is a case of Republicans here in the Senate once again not taking yes for an answer. This morning, the Republican leader asked consent to have a vote on his proposal. Just now, I told everyone that we're willing to have that vote, up or down vote. But now the Republican leader objects his own idea. So I guess we have a filibuster of his own bill, so I object.
Is there objection to the original request?
Yeah, I object.
Objection is heard. Got whiplash.
Look, man, we all got whiplash from that. But let me just do an aside here. That had to have been the most boring filibuster I've ever seen. I mean, look, people say that I'm boring sometimes. I don't hold a candle to both Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell. I'm just saying, I could not, even if I tried, I could not be that boring. I'm saying. But anyway, look, for him to talk about extreme, McConnell, again, this is a guy who for a year blocked the confirmation vote of Merrick Garland. Now, look, let me talk about Merrick Garland for a second. He was not my first choice for judge. However, he was owed an up or down vote. Gorsuch is not, because that, point blank, is a stolen Supreme Court seat, and they know it. They stole that seat. And now, of course, all the Republicans do is just cry and cry and cry. So look, we give them a taste of their own medicine. Partly because most of Trump's nominees were wildly unqualified. I mean, Rick Perry for Energy Secretary? Are you fucking serious? That guy got passed. Ben Carson for HUD. That guy got passed. Betsy DeVos just got through. Wildly unqualified. All of them. But it's not just that. But it's also because Payback's a bitch. And look, they want to talk about, oh, it's not about Neil Gorsuch. You're right, it's not about Neil Gorsuch. Even though I do think he is extreme in some of his positions. Regulation, abortion, all that other stuff. But it's also principle. You just can't sit there and obstruct for 8 fucking years, steal a Supreme Court seat, and then expect the other side to just lay down and pass through all your nominees without so much as a peep. Fuck that. And any Democrat that lays down and passes any of these terribly unqualified people, we primary their asses, man. Look, I'm done being the party of weakness. I'm done being the party of compromise and then getting slapped in the face by right-wingers. Fuck that. We need strong progressives to get together and fight back. Now look, some Democrats might actually be starting to learn this lesson. But it turns out people like McConnell are giant hypocrites and will play dirty politics. Now, you don't deal with that by sitting down and playing patty cakes with them. You don't wait for the fever to break, like what President Obama had said. Oh, I won the election, but don't worry. They'll sit down and they'll be reasonable. No, they never were. They were never reasonable throughout that entire 8 years. And now they expect us to not block, to not obstruct. No, man, shoes on the other foot now. Look, what you do is that you pound them with politics. You got to go out there and remind people every day that Merrick Garland, whenever a Republican says Democrats are not getting Gorsuch a fair hearing or a fair up and down vote, you got to go out there and say, Merrick Garland also never got his vote for over a year until the new election. He was denied his up or down vote. That was the Senate's constitutional duty to give him an up or down vote. That was Obama's nominee. It was the duty of Congress to do their jobs. And the Republicans did not. They stole that seat. And you know what you do? You do not reward thieves. You hammer that message day in and day out. If you're the Democrats, keep telling people that is a stolen seat. It's a stolen seat. We're not voting on a stolen seat. We'll keep that motherfucker to 8. We'll keep it empty. See how they like it. Stolen seat. You also have to make sure that people never forget that Mitch McConnell himself, he wants to talk about extreme. He's the extremist when it comes to obstruction. Filibustering your own bill, who fucking does that? Who does that? Breaking records of obstruction. Who does that? No, it shouldn't matter how many crocodile tears he sheds. This man is a hypocrite and a political opportunist. He will play dirty politics as much as he can to get his way. And he deserves, and all these nominees should be blocked. You want to grind government to a halt? Let's do it. I'm game. Let's fucking do it. It's on. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.